well, is there something wrong with generating money? It's like, well, it depends on what you're going to do with the money. You know, like if you're going to spend it all on hookers and cocaine, then probably that's reprehensible.
Well, thanks a lot, Jordan, for coming and doing the interview.
Yeah, no problem.
It's funny, I'd planned all these questions and then we've just had a chat before rolling about you know, your interest in entrepreneurship. And maybe that could be the angle we could use on the podcast, because maybe it's not what you've talked about on a lot of other podcasts. So I might just shut the laptop and we might go down there, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, how does psychology, temperament, marry up and link with psychology? You're obviously well known for psychology commentary in other areas, but maybe we could focus a bit on that domain.
Well, I mean, there's lots known about what predicts success in different domains across the lifespan, let's say. The first question is, if you're trying to analyze something like business success or productive success, what are the proper domains of category? And so if you're trying to categorize jobs, for example, which turns out to be quite difficult, the simplest conceptual scheme that's practical, that gets you somewhere, is like a 2x2 matrix. There are simple jobs and complex jobs. That's the first thing that's worth knowing. And it's a continuum, really. But a simple job is one where once you're trained, you just repeat what you're doing. So factory line work would be an example of that, or checking out people at a grocery store, restocking grocery shelves, or jobs like that. The best predictors for success in those jobs is conscientiousness, trait conscientiousness. And conscientious people are orderly and industrious. And we don't exactly know why they are. It seems like it's associated, oddly enough, with such things as disgust sensitivity. So maybe people are conscientious because they get disgusted with themselves if they're not useful, and guilty. You know, they get guilty if they're not engaging in productive enterprise. And maybe that's a marker for a kind of complex social responsibility, you know. But
which sounds like the complete opposite of most entrepreneurs I know.
Well, that's the thing. The entrepreneurs are different. So for simple jobs, IQ, intelligence, predicts how fast you learn the job, but not how well you do it once you learn it. And what predicts there is conscientiousness. So you basically, if you're hiring people, you want conscientious people who are. That's the most important thing. And then the second most important thing is you want people who are relatively low in trait neuroticism, which is a negative emotion dimension, because they're less likely to be absentee, and so forth. So in complex job is one where the demands change on a regular basis. And so most managerial and administrative positions are complex jobs, because you can't learn the job once and for all. And then the best predictor for complex jobs, the first predictor is IQ. And the second predictor is conscientiousness. And IQ is about 3 times more powerful than conscientiousness as a predictor. And then, so that's the first, simple versus complex. And then the second category scheme would be something like managerial/administrative versus entrepreneurial. And the entrepreneurial types, actually, they're over with the artists. So the best predictor for entrepreneurial success, first is IQ, but second is trait openness, which is the creativity dimension. So entrepreneurial types tend to be very high in trait openness. And so that sets them with the artists, and also with the political liberals, because the best predictor of political liberalism is trait openness. So the managers and administrative types, they tend to be conservative, and the entrepreneurial and creative types tend to be liberal. And so if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to be a lateral thinker. And so you'll be the sort of person, if you hear an idea, that will trigger off a whole bunch of other ideas. And you'll be motivated primarily by interest in pursuing your ideas. But your downfall is likely to be organizational administrative ability. So it's often useful for entrepreneurial types to pair themselves with